We're about to begin. Welcome everybody to this combined town hall and holiday brunch celebration, which will lead right into the faculty Senate meeting elsewhere, but glad you're here. This obviously is intended to be an interactive session, so whether you're remote or in person, you have cards in person for questions. So as we talk about things, and it is quite a meaty agenda today, write your questions down or put them in the chat. This is our fourth town hall since August, and that doesn't include the mini town hall that Dr. Betty Stewart and I conducted after learning that we received $100 million for our science building. I think we're all still on a high following that announcement. And there may be some questions about timing when we think we'll bring that online. I'm happy to take those later. But even without the science building, which was wonderful, we had a great legislative session, best we ever had. And so we're really pleased with that. We also had our first alumni town hall, and I promised participants that we would present the results of that survey. It turned out to be another good survey of our alumni, and you'll be hearing more about that in a few minutes. The week that we first received the results of the alumni survey, I just want to give you a flavor of kind of what a typical week is like around here, and because a lot of you are focused on, and understandably, on your area of specialty, but that was the week of November 10th when the first results started to come in on survey. That same Monday, we launched our first generation week of celebrations, which I sat in a couple of them, participated in one, very substantive. We brought alumni back. We invited a lot of current staffers and faculty to participate. It was a really great event. On the 11th, our College of Liberal Arts and Science presented their first Critical Issues Forum with a distinguished panel right on this stage. The next day, our student veterans organized a wonderful Veterans Gala, and Senator Brian Birdwell, gave one of the most rousing speeches, I think certainly since I've been president of UNT Dallas more than 6 years ago. And I don't care which side of the aisle you're on, Senator Birdwell was the only survivor at the Pentagon on 9/11, 2001, when the plane hit that one portion of the Pentagon. Everybody around him was incinerated. He happened to be had walked out of the room, came back. It still took him years to recover through countless surgeries. And he told that story in a way that was addressed to our students. And it was very hard to get him out of here because our student veterans stopped him, talked to him. It was a wonderful event. That next Monday, we had our final visit from the American Bar Association, the accreditor of our College of Law. Dr. Cheryl will talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But I would say more confidently than I've ever said it, we are on track. We've made a huge investment physically, psychically, professionally in this school. And I'm very, very, and I'm in a very good place right now about it. On that same day, we honored our expanded HR staff on campus. Wonderful sit-down lunch in here. I spoke, several other folks spoke. Shireen Gillum-Holmes from System HR, the head of HR Vice Chancellor Gillum-Holmes, Wanda Boyd. It was a good day and a good afternoon. That week, we also hosted a boisterous celebration for the only national blue ribbon high schools in Dallas. This is the highest honor you can win as a high school in the United States of America. And the only two schools that won it were in Southern Dallas. Garza, which is a huge feeder school for us historically, and Gillum, just around the corner. A few years ago, Gillum was struggling. And just, you know, it's just a testament to leadership that you get the right principal, Gail Rogers, in there, and the school turns around as a result. Let's not forget the inaugural homecoming week. That was, it drew large crowds. And actually, because of our special circumstances in COVID, a lot of the students who came to homecoming really hadn't spent much time on campus. So I ran into several people said, wow, I got to spend more time. And then the next week, Representative Student Government told me that a lot of those students were back in the library, studying, taking coffee at Starbucks. And I think it just is a precursor to what we all want, which is a more normal environment here. I'm also really pleased to say that during that same time, the state of Texas informed us that once again, UNT Dallas is #1 among all higher education in percentage of contracts let to women and minority-owned firms. This is huge. This is part of our mission. You know, this, you know, community connectedness. We recruit from this community and we serve this community. And not only were we first in higher education, there are about 270 state agencies. We were third among all those. A lot of you in this room made that happen. And we continue to plan for, it's hard to believe, we're almost there, the December 10th commencement. But I want to thank everybody who put Herculean effort into organizing that commencement. Those of you who haven't done it, I don't think you can fully appreciate how difficult it is. It's a little bit of a logistical nightmare, but it's going to be a great celebration. And I think the faculty is all going to be on the floor with the students, so that'll be good. And our recruitment team and everybody who works with that team, the faculty, the deans, the registrar's office, the advisors, it's looking good for our 12th straight semester of increased enrollment. Again, that's unprecedented in the state of Texas. So I mention all these events because they're emblematic of our active involvement in the greater community around us, but also our university community. And we're proud of the growing presence UNT Dallas has in the economic ecosystem in North Texas. Of course, most importantly, as we all know, is that learning is taking place in our classrooms, in person or remotely. And so I'm going to ask Dr. Stewart to be our second presenter, and she can bring you up to date on the state of academic affairs here. Thank you.
So good morning, and so good to see all of you here today. Could we have the next slide, please? I really want to spend time this morning talking about the spring 2022 semester and what will be happening in our classes. So we will have a continuation of the procedures that we used in the fall semester for spring. 1,000 and 2,000 level classes will be in person in a safe and face-to-face format. The 3,000, 4,000 and graduate classes will be offered remote or online. And then we will continue to have our Canvas classes following the regular schedule. Next slide. This is very important for our students and faculty. All face-to-face and remote classes will meet virtually on the first day. All face-to-face and remote classes will meet virtually on the first day. Friday, before classes begin, which is January 7th, faculty will send a link to students who are enrolled in the classes to let them know how to connect with the class on that day. And students, if you have not received a link from your faculty by 5 o'clock on Friday, please email the professor of record to see how you can join the class on the first day. And students, please continue to check the schedule of classes for the different types of formats that will be offered on whether we're face-to-face or remote or online, hybrid or high flex. Next slide, please. This is for the Dallas campus, so please pay attention. If students, if you're in a face-to-face or remote class, make sure that you follow the attendance policy. Please understand that instructors use attendance as part of your course grade, so you don't want your grade lowered because you're not attending class. Next slide. I wanted to share on the Dallas campus some of the academic support services that are going to be available in the spring. The library will be open Monday through Thursday from 8 to 8 p.m., Friday and Saturday from 8 to 5, and Sunday from noon to 5. In the spring, we will be offering tutoring on campus in person 2 days a week between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Students must make appointments for this in-person tutoring, and it will be on a first come, first served basis. More information will be coming in the weekly bulletins. We will also have virtual tutoring Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., Friday and Saturday from noon to 7 p.m. And of course, students can access Smart Thinking, which is our online tutoring 7 days a week, but especially available on Sundays. We will also have supplemental instruction for selected STEM classes in the spring. Students who are participating in experiential learning activities, please meet with Ms. Aronia King face-to-face or virtually if you need help with placements for internships, volunteer, or research opportunities. You can also work with Ms. King for volunteer and internship cohorts for spring 22 commencement. And we also have scholarships available for students who are participating in unpaid internships. We have 6 internship opportunities being supported by our community partner for Oak Cliff. Please check on those opportunities. The registrar's office will be available daily, either face-to-face or virtual as needed. And if you need transcripts, you can request those 24 hours a day, 7 days a week online on the registrar's website. Next slide. For the College of Law, classes will begin Monday, January 10th. There will be remote and in-person classes. Their variance has been approved by the ABA. Students should check with the Canvas page for each class to determine the format. The Law Center and the Law Library will open on January 3rd. The building will be open Monday through Friday, January 3rd through 7th, from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. On January 10th, the Law Center hours will be from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. on Friday. The Law Center will be closed on the weekends, but the Law Library will be open on the weekends. Next slide. I'd like to take a moment to recognize some outstanding work of our faculty. And I'll start with the College of Law faculty because they have some outstanding achievements, and I'd like to spend a little time with them. Starting with Professor Cheryl Watley. Professor Watley has had a phenomenal semester in that she has received the equivalent of 2 Lifetime Achievement Awards. She received the Dallas Bar Association's Trial Attorney of the Year, and this prestigious recognition is comparable to a Lifetime Achievement Award. It highlights her significant contributions to the legal field and her tireless efforts to promote social justice. The second award that she received was the 2021 Juanita Craft Humanitarian Legacy Award. The Legacy Award is a Lifetime Achievement Award for individuals, families, or organizations that have made important and sustained contributions to the understanding and promotion of civil rights. Congratulations, Professor Watley. Professor of Practice Gabriela Sotelo graduated from the Dallas Bar Association We Lead program. Professor Sotelo completed the program despite the challenges of life during COVID. The Dallas Bar Association, in partnership with the Dallas Women's Foundation, has developed the DBA We Lead, Women Empowered to Lead in the Legal Profession. This is a leadership program designed to address the challenges of high-performing women who have practiced law for 8 to 15 years. Congratulations, Professor Sotelo. Next slide. Associate Professor Monica Erman is the lead principal investigator, and UNT Dallas is the lead institution for about a $450,000 grant from the Sloan Foundation, which was approved in November by the Board of Trustees of Sloan. Her multidisciplinary team is composed of members from the University of Arizona, Resources for the Future, the University of Montana, the University of Michigan, and Arizona State University. This project will study the potential effects of the clean energy transition on energy producing Native American communities. And their proposal seeks to inform tribal decisions related to the transition by examining the potential effects of different public policies on future energy development on Native American lands. Congratulations, and we're proud to be in the company of such great institutions. Next slide. Dr. Samuel Boré, who's our chair of counseling and who's doing an outstanding job at this moment, received a $100,000 grant titled the COVID-19 Education Initiative, Reducing Vaccination Hesitancy. And this is a collaboration between Texas Health Resources and UNT Dallas for data collection through practicum and internships. Currently, 15 UNT Dallas students are participating in this grant, and the project will continue in the spring and summer of 2022. Congratulations to Dr. Constance Lacey, Dean of the School of Human Services. She received a grant from Southwest Addiction Technology Transfer Center to help fund a symposium in summer 2022. This is for $42,000. Next slide. Congratulations to Dr. John Eric Coleman, who's co-PI on the National Institute of Justice grant with the National Police Foundation and the Caruth Police Institute on body-worn cameras. This is a $150,000 grant. And finally, congratulations to Dr. Donna Hamilton, who's co-PI on a 5-year, $2+ million grant from the National Science Foundation to increase participation of minorities in STEM. And the grant is titled Bridges Across Texas, the Lewis Stokes Alliance for Minority Participation. Congratulations to all of our faculty for their great work. And I can't close without the next slide. I want to say a hearty and heartfelt thank you to Dean Epps and the UNT Dallas College of Law, who completed their virtual site visit November 15th through 17th. This is the final site visit from the ABA in preparation for full accreditation by our law school from the American Bar Association. Thank you.
Good morning, Trailblazers. Next slide, please. Here's a look at our financial forecast for the year as of October. Revenue budget by $4.5 billion, or 4.8%, and expenses below budget by $5.3 billion, or 2%. One of the big reasons for the reduction of revenues and expenses is the first. We budgeted around $5 million the institutional portion of FERC, reflected in revenues and expenses. We spent $1 billion last fiscal year, and as a result, revenues and expenses in this year's full year forecast by the $3 million amount that we spent last fiscal year. So as of October, we're projecting a net deficit position for the year of $500,000, driven mostly by flattish growth in fall semester credit hours and overspend in institutional scholarships. Also, there are many unbudgeted requests that we are tracking that are not reflected here in these numbers. And on a brighter note, we're seeing some upside in certain lines as we close out the month of November. Next slide, please. Here is a summary of our FY22 strategic plan that President Mong and I presented to the board a couple of weeks ago, where the plan was approved. We will post to our website soon the completed version of this strategic plan. So playing off of the trailblazer motif, there are 5 trails that we will blaze for this fiscal year. First is academic distinction, and it goes without saying that we're in the business of higher education, where competition is high, and where we must differentiate ourselves through high quality academic offerings, relevancy, delivery, and reach. The priority here is all about expanding our reach through academic programs and innovation. And Dr. Betty Stewart is our guide for this trail with support from Dr. Monica Williams. Number 2 is student access and success. This trail is centered around recruiting a diversity of students, giving them a great college experience and the tools necessary to compete in the workplace, thereby impacting their communities and the world. The priority here is all about adjusting and adapting to this new normal in which we find ourselves. Stephanie Hawley is our guide for this trail with support from Dr. Jose Da Silva and Dr. Betty Stewart. Trailblazer talent. The third trail here is all about our diverse faculty and staff, where we will continue to foster a student-first environment and provide meaningful careers and opportunities. And like the previous trail, the priority here is all about adjusting and adapting to this new normal. And Wanda Boyd is the guide for this trail. Excellence. The fourth trail here is focused on how we get things done by relentlessly pursuing better, faster, and more creative ways in order to advance our mission. The priority here is all about simplification, accountability, and collaboration, and I am the guide for this trail. And lastly, community partnerships. This trail is all about partnerships where we foster engagement and collaboration and where we compete in a resource-rich market, again, in order to advance our mission. The priority here is to engage, serve, and support the needs of our community through synergies and expanded partnerships. And Dr. Monica Williams is the guide for this trail with support from the Honorable Michael Williams and Dr. Betty Stewart. Next slide, please. Here's a look at the calendar for the key tasks and milestones and where we are. As mentioned earlier, the board approved our strategic plan a couple of weeks ago. You can see that as the second item there. The trail guides have been working across the institution to create the underlying goals and initiatives for each of these trails, and the cabinet will review these goals and initiatives for alignment before the holiday break, and after which we will begin the execution and tracking phases. This will be the last year where we will do a one-year strategic plan. As we are executing our FY22 strategic plan, there will be a parallel work stream where we will be building out our 3-year long-range strategic plan for fiscal years 23 through 25, and more to come on that. That is all I have. I will now toss it to Stephanie Hawley, Vice President of Student Access and Success. Stephanie?
Thank you, Arthur. I would like to start out by letting you all know that we are hard at work to impact the spring 2022 semester. Despite short staffing, like most are experiencing in several areas, we have joined together to assist one another in achieving these goals with departments like Student Affairs and Student Solutions volunteering for our various enrollment campaigns. Thank you for that to those folks, and thank you to all who are working hard across the university to make this lift for spring. I have some great news to share about this coming semester. Next slide, please. I'd like to welcome in our Academic Advising and Student Success Department, Assistant Director of Academic Testing, not advising. Well, I think she's a title advising, but she's focused on our testing center, is Miss Ariane Farlow Rollins. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. We're excited about all that you'll bring to the area. And then we are also excited about a new academic advisor, Miss Jill De Silva. Next slide, please. In Student Affairs, we would like to welcome again, because they've made a change in their current positions, the Director of Housing and Residence Life, Miss Toni Minter. We are excited to have you shift from one position to another position and looking forward to what you bring. And then our Director of Counseling and Wellness, Ms. Teresa Espino, who has been with us in the Counseling Center, but now assumes the leadership, and we're excited there as well. Next slide, please. Great news on spring enrollment. University overall enrollment is now 4% up in head count, 3% up in semester credit hours. The undergraduate overall is at 5% in head count and 3% in semester credit hours. And master's overall is up 8% in head count and 6% in semester credit hours. So all those groups are looking great, and College of Law is just right there. These percentages look a little high, but they represent a very small number of students, and they're just down 3% for head count and 1% for semester credit hours. These numbers were based on yesterday's enrollment report, so we will continue to watch those and distribute those, and I can answer any questions if you have those about the enrollment reports. Next slide, please. So some of the ways that we're working on increasing enrollment are by some campaigns that we've been doing to drive it. And we've had round 1, and we're now going on round 2. And so I just want to share a little bit about what's going on there. In round 1, we sent thousands of personal messaging via targeted groups to urge them to register by December 1st. We had prize drawings for those, like iPads, AirPods, gift cards. And so we've completed that round and are awarding those prize winners. And we are moving to round 2, where we've added more mediums of communication, including callback and group advising details, and on-campus signs and posters to register by 12/22. So you'll see those shortly as we get those up and around campus and online. So we're working hard with just providing some incentives to urge students, and I think it's working and definitely impacting. And then the results of these campaigns will be shared in an upcoming meeting so that we can let you all know just what happened in these campaigns. And also you'll see the impact to the enrollment report. Okay, that's all for me. I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Monica Williams.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Stephanie. Our physical, if you can go to the next slide, please. Our physical plant, as many of you have noticed, has grown. And it continues to grow. We celebrated the dedication of the Hart Amphitheater in October with a grand opening attended by the Harts, Mitch and Linda Hart, their friends and members of the university community. And in mid-spring, we will see the completion of Ryan Tower. Many of you have passed by and seen it going up, and it's really exciting. And we will plan for a celebration sometime in the spring to welcome Ryan Tower to our campus. Next slide, please. Thanks to Yolanda Franklin, the marketing and communications team. We have new view books that are in progress for the use in springtime. And the expanded recruitment piece provides a close look into campus life and student support services that are offered at UNT Dallas. Next slide. We continue to keep our campus community informed via social media. We have campaigns on Facebook and Instagram for undergraduate and graduate information sessions. Advance to the next slide, please. And we've taken in the new UNT Dallas banners. Thanks to Yolanda and her team. They really did a great job and were relentless in getting these pole banners up, and our relationship with the city of Dallas really did help to move that along. So they look really, really great. If you haven't noticed them, well, you're missing a treat. If you come to campus via University Hills or Camp Wisdom, you can't help but see them, so look up. So thank you again, team, for your work on this. We've been trying to get this done for 4 years. Next slide. The website migration is in its final stages. You can look forward to several changes, including web standards and a new approval process. The online directory will be able to house the syllabus, and online references to official policies are going through process changes. So stay tuned. Next slide. And our sponsor projects area continues to do amazing work, bringing in unprecedented grants. You can see that we've submitted over $5 million in grant proposals, and we've received $3.7 million in awards. Next slide, please. We are fortunate to continue our relationship with the Cicero Group. and Dr. Carrie Briggs, who, along with her team, has rolled out some amazing results from the alumni survey that we administered earlier this year. And we had 475 surveys completed, which is really, really wonderful. Our alumni are paying attention and participating. And some of the key highlights from the results are listed there. If you go to the next slide, this slide offers where you can go find key information about the alumni survey. And if you have specific questions regarding the survey, you can contact Derek Morgan. Next slide. I will turn it over to Wanda Boyd from here. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Next slide, please. So oftentimes when we do presentations, we leave thank yous for the end. I want to start today by saying thank you to everyone here, personally and on behalf of the HR team. Those are your team members, and we thank you. Penny Dempsey, who is your Equal Opportunity and HR Manager. Jane Gray, she is over Talent Acquisition. Kishella Henderson, she's your Senior Human Resources Business Partner, and her other operational focus is on compensation. We have Sylvia Littleton. Her title is super long, but she supports me with all of my calendaring and keeps me as straight as she possibly can. We have Dr. R. Mark Miles. He is over Organizational Development and Engagement as Senior Director. We have Tina Robinson. She is one of our newest team members. She is one of your Human Resources Business Partners, and her focus is on benefits. We have Cheryl Shaw. She's another Senior HR Business Partner, and her focus is performance management. Then we have Dr. Sean Treat, who supports our Organizational Development and Engagement team, and he is your training specialist. We have a new recruiter who will be joining us on December 13th, Jennifer Contreras. She is also a graduate of UNT Dallas, and we are posting for an HR assistant position that will be bilingual with Spanish as the additional language. So thank you. Thank you for welcoming the team. Thank you for your constructive feedback that we've received. Thank you for your openness to approaching different ways to accomplish things and your commitment to the success of our students and to each other. Next slide, please. I feel like I should be standing over these microphones. I should have worn taller heels. So the next thing is your well-being is of critical importance. It's one of our leading initiatives, and I want to share more about EAP and its valuable resources. I have some questions that I'm going to pose, but today is not the time to fully engage and raise your hand. So please, if you could not raise your hands today, but just contemplate these questions as I pose them. The first question I have is, do you know if your remote work location is ergonomically correct? Are you mindful of your workday? Could you benefit from some computer and neck stretching exercises or better wrist and elbow health information? Can you define the biology of compassion? Are you experiencing financial strain and want to seek advice? Would you benefit from some confidential emotional support? Did you know active and retired employees and members of their households can use EAP at no cost? Would you like to access these resources in Spanish? So for those of you who privately raised your hand or would like more information about these questions that I posed, EAP can answer each of these questions. EAP can provide you with some additional resources. EAP can support you and your family members. And all of the resources, including videos, are available in Spanish. Next slide, please. Here is how you access the benefits. You can go to the Human Resources page, go to the link under Benefits, and you'll find this, the information on this slide right at that page. You can try to screenshot or take a picture of this slide now, but there's a number to call, and then you can access the benefits there. Once you go to the benefits, accessing that link there, there's another link right next to that where you can access the information on Spanish, and it immediately converts the entire web page to Spanish, and that's there and readily available. Next slide, please. So coming in January, so that we can really make sure that we're engaging with these resources and just offering you more, we are going to be launching a wellness challenge in January. We are looking forward to the challenge because it will encourage participation in our wellness initiatives. It will encourage employees to complete a total of 10 activities to learn more about themselves and what UNT Dallas offers to you to support good health and overall well-being. We will have completed cards submitted to hr@untdallas.edu to be entered into a drawing to receive prizes. Perhaps we could get with Stephanie Hawley and her team or someone so that we can perhaps give away some iPads. Just putting that out there so that we work collaboratively and see if we can really engage, increase participation. We also hope that we also will recognize all employees who successfully complete the challenge in our campus newsletter, and we will share more information soon about this Trailblazer Challenge. With that, I thank you again, and now President Mong for final comments.
Thanks to all presenters today. I told you it's going to be a meaty program, and it is. I just had a couple observations on what you heard. You know, we talk all the time about the community negotiating with each other to advance the cause of the university. I think there were several examples of that, but I'll just pick tutoring. Tutoring was remote first semester. They received a lot of interest among students to introduce in-person hours. They did that, so thank you. We all know we have an outstanding tutoring program, and we appreciate their responsiveness. You heard a little bit about internships. We are being besieged, and this is a good thing, by companies who want our students. And Aronia King is taking over an internship committee, which will be made up of students, staff, and faculty to work with prospective companies and institutions who want to provide internships, because, you know, this isn't SMU where most of the students don't work. Our students have jobs. And so we have to, you know, work with the companies so they understand that for a student to give up an existing job for an internship, the internship may be the right thing to do, but it's not, here's an internship and they will all come. It's got to be a negotiation. So that's part of the special nature of who we are. Companies are getting it. And are working with us. In fact, just yesterday, Arthur Lumsey, our Director of Career Services, is on point on this, but there's a very well-financed national organization that provides paid internships for recent graduates or graduates of our institution. We signed the MOU, we're part of this national effort. And now we're in the process of marketing, but these are apprenticeships that pay at least $50,000, more likely $60,000 immediately for 2 years of training. And those, if the 2 years of training are successfully completed, then the money gets a lot better from there. But this is the level of engagement that we're involved in right now. And I don't even talk to people if they're not going to come in and talk about paid internships. So Arthur gave you a sort of a glancing look at our financial condition. I would say, as Arthur likes to say, we're healthy, we're not wealthy. We're running a little deficit right now, but compared to where we were last year, of course, we ended the year in the black, remember that, well in the black. And we're about 500,000 down right now. It's very manageable. And a lot of our costs are front-loaded, but we have to be careful. And Arthur and his team and I meet monthly to make sure that we are operating in a good way financially. There are no hiring restrictions, so if you have openings, there is a process, but we know there is an issue throughout the market, a bit of a labor shortage, so we have to work extra hard, which is why we appreciate our friends in HR or talent acquisition working hand in hand with us to identify talent. In fact, one of our talent acquisition folks, we believe, has successfully recruited our next distance learning person, but more on that later, not today. Our enrollment, encouraging. We were up a little bit in the fall, but we want to get back on a steeper trajectory, and we're heading that way again. So we've got the spring and then the summer. Last year, summer turned out to be a huge surprise, positive surprise for us, because remember, the summer before, we were up almost 20% in our enrollment semester credit hours. So that was a steep hill to climb to match that. We not only matched it, but we exceeded it. The banners, I'm glad Dr. Williams mentioned them. Unsolicited this week, I've heard from students, and I was in a zoning meeting this week with neighborhood associations around us, and they talked about the pride they felt in seeing those banners up. So I like that. Alumni survey, one thing that was not mentioned, but I want to mention it, was up on the screen. 80% of our alumni that surveyed say that they would recommend UNT Dallas to a friend. That is astronomical. If you ask Gallup, about 80%, that's a net promoter score. That is a best place to work if you can do that. Now we just want to translate that into the same kind of net promoter score for our staff and faculty. And I think that's all I had. So I'm ready for questions. Our cabinet's ready for questions. Do we have any?
Good morning. Yes, for our in-person guests, if you notice, there are index cards and pens on the table. If you have questions, please raise your hand and our friends from IT will pick those up from you. Online, we have a question. Is there a contingency plan for faculty, staff, and students if there is a second wave of COVID with the new variant?
Yeah, we're well versed on this. And so we've talked about the idea that we read and react to in a very sensitive way. We have a safety team that is tied in with the system safety team, and we're also very closely aligned with the county health department. So I think we've got it triangulated in a pretty good way, and your health and safety is, and the health and safety of our students are paramount to us. So yes.
Hi, so our department, you mentioned no hiring restrictions. So our department has a need to hire new faculty lines, or we would like to. Is there a process for requesting new faculty lines?
Yeah, it's called University Budget Advisory Committee, and that's the way to do it, is to present, I think, what did we add this year? 8 faculty, Dr. Stewart? 11 faculty, thank you, through that process. And so we look at areas that are growing. So, and you can look at the SARS report and you can see which areas are growing, and those will get the first priority or if you can build a case about if we do this, we will grow. A couple years ago, Dr. Shumway built a great case for business analytics. Now, we didn't have it, but it's turned out to be quite successful. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it just, some years it's been through UBAC and some years it hasn't. So it's just, it seems to be different every year. So I would just clarifying, thank you.
There have been times when circumstances require that we move faster than the annual UBAC, but UBAC's been in place really since I've been here. We started about 6 months after I started, and so it's been pretty consistent. Yes.
I'm not sure if this question's for you or Dr. Stewart, but there was a compensation study that was started, and I was wondering if that's been concluded and how that's changed, what we're going to be doing going forward.
That's true.
Actually, it's still in progress. Kashala, are you here? Wave at me. We have meetings next week to continue discussing.
Yeah, it's important.
We have another online question. Is UNT Dallas seeking a closer venue for the spring 2022 commencement?
Yes. I was in touch with, now this, we can't take this as gospel, but I was in touch with DISD this week at the highest levels of DISD, trying to get Ellis Davis Fieldhouse, which is just around the corner. That's where we wanted it in the first place, but because they had a kind of ironclad contract with county for testing and vaccinations, it just wasn't available in our for December or the previous commencement in August. So we've always wanted Ellis Davis as our first choice until we get an event center here or a larger space. So we're working on it. We should know soon. I believe our commencement committee and Cynthia Perez are negotiating really as we speak. That's on South Polk, so it's minutes from our campus.
When will the university take a deeper dive into the strategic plan, and will more staff and students have an opportunity to be involved?
The answer is yes, and Arthur Bradford and Dr. Kimberly Chandler are involved in that. The leaders, if you have an interest in working on the 5 trails, goals, you heard the team leaders, who they are, approach them. They will be approaching selected people to get involved in the 2 or 3 tactics that are going to make these goals work. So that's already in place. If you want to be involved, we want you involved. I've said the same thing to student government leaders. I've said the same thing to staff council. I've said the same thing to Dr. Baggerly. We want you involved. We said the same thing at our July retreat. So you want involved, we'll find a place for you in an area that you're particularly interested in. So yes. I mean, one of the hallmarks of our strategic planning is that students, staff, and faculty participate.
Not a question, President Mong, but we do have several statements of support and excitement as the law school prepares for accreditation.
It is exciting. If you remember, wasn't that long ago, where the hurdles were quite high. And I just want to commend Dr. Stewart, Dean Epps, her staff, the College of Law faculty, the students for doing their part, because the standards that we have to meet, we're in good shape on them right now. And it's been a very heavy lift. And not getting it would have been, we still have to wait for the final decision, but it would be very, very difficult on our reputation if it doesn't happen. And they, in my opinion, deserve permanent accreditation. As Nathan Heck, the Chief Justice of the Texas Supreme Court, said, we don't need another law school, but we need that law school. And you've already seen that SMU suspended its night classes. Texas A&M and Fort Worth suspended its night classes. So the only place you can go in North Texas now for, if you're a working person that wants to go to law school, is UNT Dallas College of Law. I think about 40% of our students are part-time students. It takes 4 years instead of 3 that way. But it's an important outlet. And I think we have over 470 graduates. We only started in 2014. We have 475 graduates who are, most of them working in this market. They passed the bar. I participated a little over a week ago in a swearing-in ceremony. Our inaugural dean, Royal Ferguson, swore in new attorneys. It was very exciting. One of the attorneys was up there with her 9-month-old child. It's becoming a permanent attorney. It's quite exciting. Anything else?
We have a couple more that just came in.
Good.
Will you provide an update on the campus facilities expansion beyond the science building? Housing, dining, and event center, are these things in progress, and is there a particular order?
Good question, and yes, they're very much what we're trying to do right now, and think about this just as a sensible financial approach to using our scale that will exist in building the science building. The most efficient way to do that would be to also build another residence hall during the process. I hope a child care center and another dining hall to complement what we already have. We can use our negotiating power to do that at a more reasonable cost. So that is our plan. Arthur Bradford, our CFO, Dan Tenney, the system CFO, and his staff, Arthur and his staff, CFO and his staff at System, Steve Maricheski and our planning and facilities staff, we are all working on the plan. This is the next step in executing our master plan, which most of you have seen. You can grab it online if you care to. It's a good master plan, and we'll want your involvement, believe me, in ideation around the science building. Dr. Stewart has already started to go to conferences where we learn about from other universities about what they've done in this area. There's some lessons in the state. So yes, but we think doing it together would be good. You know, we want to be more of a residential campus. We want more minutes. We also, we have a growing athletic program. I was at the games last night. We lost both of them to Oklahoma City University, but they were very competitive games. We should have won both of them. It was just very competitive. And so I'm kind of glad that the other coaches in the conference picked us to finish last, both in women's and men's basketball, because I think we're going to surprise them. But I think there's a need for a event center as well. Obviously, longer term plan, I hope it's not too long term, is a business building. Athletic facilities, student government's already talking about maybe raising their fee a little bit to accommodate soccer. A lot of students want volleyball, women's volleyball. So, but we're going to do it in a fiscally responsible way. You know, Jack Alday has done a marvelous job at keeping our costs within the budget and still producing competitive teams. We were associate member of the NAI last year. This is our first year of being a permanent member, and we're competitive. Both coaches have put good teams on the floor, and Kenneth Royal, our track coach and cross-country coach, has done a good job. Does that answer your question? Yolanda, is there another one?
Yes. With the decision to continue offering graduate courses remotely, what is being done to improve the quality of those programs and to ensure that professors are actually holding class and meeting in a virtual space?
Well, is Dr. Ali here? Dr. Ali Shaklia? Sorry to put you on the spot.
No, that's fine. Good morning. We are happy to receive any feedback regarding the courses or being taught. Currently, mostly they're offered in a remote or online. In fact, in our check-in sessions, we kind of surveyed students and we knew that they're split. Like some students like the flexibility of being online and remote. Other students want to be on campus. We will just follow the campus decision on deciding, you know, whether the class will be face-to-face or not for the time being. I hope in the fall things will. But for the quality, for communication issues, we're happy to, you know, always help our students. I welcome any feedback, my deans, the other deans too. So please let us know. We'll be happy to help. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shaklia.
Next question. Is there any part of the strategic plan to leverage and improve partnerships with local ISDs regarding pipelines for future educators, as well as creating grad opportunities for current staff? Competitors like A&M Commerce, TWU, and Tarleton seem to be often engaging in partnerships with Dallas College and Dallas ISD.
Well, we're ahead of them, frankly. We have none of them have early college high schools with the Dallas ISD. We do. We're working with foundations and the Commit partnership to produce a program that will help increase the number of college credits that comprehensive high school students get. Little known fact in Texas, you know, the good news is that we have a growing number of high school graduates. When I got here in 2015, that fall, 286,000 students graduated from Texas high schools. This year is 355. But 70% of that 355, those students have no college credit, which makes it much more difficult when they do go to community college or to a four-year. They're not as comfortable because a lot of them are first generation, increasing number of them. And so we're taking the lead we are working with Dallas College on this. So we are actually the leader in collaborating in North Texas. In fact, we just got a huge grant to work with Texas A&M Commerce, TWU, UT Arlington, and Dallas College on, it's a Gates grant. It's the first phase. It's a multi-million-dollar grant that will, I think, finally make it seamless. If we all agree on the terms of transfer, then if a student passes a course at Dallas, all their courses, we have to accept them. Arlington has to accept them. TWU has to accept them, and Commerce has to. No nuances around, well, I don't know if I like that accounting course. That would be gone because we would have agreed to it in a very rigorous process. Arizona's doing it. Arizona they're trying to be student first. 3 meta majors, liberal arts, business, and STEM. 36 hours. Northern Arizona, Arizona State, University of Arizona, and the community colleges agree on those meta majors and the 36 hours. That's the way to do it. But we don't take a backseat to anybody on ISD collaboration. I'm happy to entertain a follow-up on that.
Are there any concerns?
Oh, and by the way, on pathways, we're adding a 5th teacher pathway at Lincoln High School, one of our early college high schools. They will begin a teacher pathway in the fall. And that, again, this is what happens when you work together with the community college and the ISD. The other 4 pathway high schools are majority Latinx. Sunset, which is ours, W.T. White, Brian Adams, and Samuel. So we needed an majority African-American high school to bring more African-Americans into the teaching pipeline. We also, I see Lisa Hobson, I don't know if Elijah Granger's out there, but I see Lisa Hobson, Dr. Hobson. She is leading our Call Me Mr. program. UNT Dallas brought Call Me Mr. to North Texas for the first time. And we're out recruiting African-American males into the classroom to train here and then go into the classroom. Only 2% of public school teachers in the United States are African-American males. Students need role models. We need more African, so we're taking the lead on that as well, working with the DISD. And we also have we can compete and collaborate at the same time. I had lunch this week, lunch this week at Capitol Grill's, very nice lunch, with the president of Texas Women's University, the president of A&M Commerce, and the chancellor-elect of Dallas College. And why did we do that? We do it because we collaborate. We collaborate and we compete. But we mapped out all sorts of things that we're doing. We're in the market right now for a $4 million+ grant where TWU, UNT Dallas, and A&M Commerce can work together. We're already doing it. Our staffs are working together to increase time to completion at the 3 campuses. Nothing like that's going on anywhere in the country. The only thing we've seen remotely like it is 5 community colleges in New Mexico are collaborating on a similar area. But 4 years are often loath to collaborate with one another, but that's old school thinking. That's old school thinking. I'm getting wound up now, so.
Okay, next question. Are there any concerns or potential interruptions to DART service on campus with the organization's new leadership and new proposed plan?
I think that's a great question. We took the initiative to bring Nadine Lee, the new CEO of DART, to campus, and she was a breath of fresh air, let me tell you. Bright, data-driven. She's changing the bus grid. We have an antiquated bus grid in Dallas where it takes, those of you who care about algorithms and ratios, most public transit systems, if you take a bus, it should take you 2 to 2.5 times to get to your destination from anywhere in town, as long as you're in the bus system, as it would if you drove a car or truck to get to work. It's 4.5 times to 1 in Dallas at DART. So she knows that's got to change. They'll introduce those changes after the first of the year. You've seen some sleeves out there on our bus stops. That's not to say that our bus service is being suspended. It just means it's changing, but it's changing for the better. It's going to be much more direct, and so and we will keep you in touch with those changes. She brought with her Edie Diaz, her chief of staff, whom I know and is very effective, and she's working with our folks to try to increase ridership, to make sure that our students and staff and faculty are familiar with the new bus grid, because it's going to be better. And we're trying to ramp up, usage of DART. The other thing we talked about was, the southern suburbs where we get a lot of students aren't in DART. And so, we talked about midterm plans for DART to work with those communities, get them in DART. But she said, first things first, we have to get good before we expand. So I think it was a very refreshing conversation, and I feel like she's somebody we can do business with, and vice versa.
Are there any new majors in the works, and where can students get this new information?
Yes. I mean, I think that when you looked at that academic excellence as our first trail or goal, built into that is a dynamic process to, again, read and react to market needs, faculty expertise, that sort of thing. Dr. Stewart could also answer, but we have new courses that are being developed.
Yes, in our last academic council, we approved 3 new majors, applied Spanish, a BA, and a BS in chemistry.
I think you're also seeing an increased demand. If you notice, the graduate school numbers up there are really up for the spring. It's really good to see. And we're also developing for next fall some online, some really exciting online innovations that will extend our reach.
Our last question is, with the new chancellor coming on board soon, how do you expect this change to impact UNT Dallas?
Well, I'm hopeful. Dr. Stewart and I have built, I think, a very trusting relationship with Dr. Michael Williams and his team at the Health Science Center in Fort Worth. He's an incredibly accomplished person for, the scholars in the room and online. He has a medical degree, an osteopathic degree, a very good master's degree in business from Fuqua at Duke. And I think he has a public health master's degree as well. So he's worked hard to prepare himself for this opportunity. He's innovative. I certainly liked working with Chancellor Rowe very much. She was alert, she paid attention, and she really improved processes. She improved, I think, the quality of our vice chancellors. And she had the presidents meet with her weekly. So it was very cohesive and communicative. Dr. Williams, of course, if you look at his Gallup scores, they are among the best in higher education. So he has a people-first culture over there. He has moved the medical school to a whole health model where the patient everything is around the patient. He doesn't believe in sending patients, okay, now you have to go make an appointment to get an x-ray and maybe you can get it in the next 2 weeks, or you need to go see this. He tries to put it all together with the patient's health in mind. So when I have an issue with the Health Science Center, which we have from time to time because we work closely with them, they run our health clinic. I make an appointment, I get in the car, I drive over there and talk to him, and stuff gets fixed. If he has an issue with us on something, usually there aren't many, we work it out. So we have a good, active, working, trusting relationship. Dr. Stewart's worked with them for years. They've been very helpful in development of our public health department. And Dr. Garner is a product, I believe, of the Health Science Center. So the relationship is good. It'll be different. I mean, his style's a little different from Lisa Rowe, but you would expect that. But I would say UNT Dallas has a great relationship with him.
President Long, that ends our Q&A portion at this time.
Good. Well, like I said, as we started, thanks for being here. And this is a combination town hall meeting and holiday brunch. So there's food out there, and I hope you'll take advantage of it. So thank you. Thanks for the questions.